Okay, next up on the list here for the CSS intermediate, we're working with fonts, and the first challenge was fancy font families, and we changed the type of font. So we were talking about sans serif and monospace, and actually changing to specific fonts like Helvetica and so on. So now we're going to talk about size. And so let's watch this video from our friend Pamela about font size properties.
We can also use CSS to change the size of our text. As you can see by looking at the headings on this page compared to the paragraphs, the browser already provides default styles with different sizes for different elements. There's a body font size and bigger sizes for each level of heading. Sometimes we want to tweak those sizes though, and we can do that with the CSS font size property. For example, what if we want all of the text on our page to be just a little bit smaller? Well, we'll go to the style tag and we'll add a CSS rule for the body tag, and then inside that put a font size property. Now, what should the value be for font size? How do we measure font size anyway? It's actually a really good question because there are at least 10 different units that CSS supports for font size. Let's start with a unit that you've seen before, pixels. We use pixels to decide how big to make images, and we'll keep using them a lot in CSS. Let's try 11 pixels. Ha! Everything got smaller. Even the headings got smaller, actually. Why did the headings get smaller too? Shouldn't they be whatever pixel size the browser set them to before? No, because the default browser style for headings isn't specified as a pixel. It's specified using a different unit called M, and that unit is a relative unit that makes the heading font size scale proportionally to the body font. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go to our H2 style rule and add the font size property. This time, instead of thinking in pixels, I'm going to think relatively. How much bigger relatively do we want H2s compared to body text? Maybe 2 times bigger? For that, we write 2M. What actually happened now is that the browser has calculated a pixel size for the font. The browser knows that the body font size is 11 pixels, and you told it that H2 should be 2 times bigger, so now all the H2s are 22 pixels high. If we change the body font size to 12 pixels, then how big will the H2s be? That's right, 24 pixels. What if we change the H2 font size to 1.5M? Now the H2 will be 12 times 1.5, 18 pixels high. We can also specify a pixel size for the H2 rule like we did for body, and it'd work the same way. It depends on what you find easier, and like I mentioned earlier, there are lots more units that we could use besides pixels and M. These are just 2 of the most popular units, but if you're hungry for more, check out the documentation for font size or search the internet for more tutorials. It's time to supersize your font size.
Okay, that was pretty simple. So now we're going to get into the challenge, and this challenge is called Great Big Font Sizes, and it's telling us this web page includes lyrics from a song about big words. We've put big and bigger classes on the EMs that describe big words. So down here you can see the emphasis class big, emphasis class bigger down here. And so we're going to add a property to the CSS rules to make the size of the big words big and the size of the bigger words even bigger. So we're going to use the same units for both properties. So we're going to use pixels. So right here for the tag of big, or the class of big, we're just going to type in font size, colon, and I'm going with 18 pixels. And then if I go here, and it says to make it bigger than the 18 pixels, so I think I'm going to go twice as big with 36. And that way, our font size for the big class, which is these, are bigger than the rest of the words, and 36 right here is even bigger than those. So our little creature here says, yay, you did it, and we're going to finish that challenge. And so, we're going to do our spin off like we normally do. We're going to put our name, like so, and press save, let it load, and We are going to get the share from here. Triple click is the trick to highlight everything. Control C to copy. And let's go to the Google Classroom assignment, which isn't open, so let's go open it. So we're going to Classroom. I'm going to sign in with James, which is my student ego. And we'll go in here to Intermediate Coding, CSS Part 1. And this will be my second challenge. I need to add that first challenge too. So I'm going to paste, Control V, paste that in, and we're good to go on that challenge. So now, one more video to be made and one more video to be put on this assignment for the next challenge. Look for that one next.